Hi everybody, welcome back to another Disney inspired crafts. I am using Scraps and Inks products today. Again, they will be linked in the description if you want to follow along, purchase any of these Disney inspired items. I've said it before, I think, but they have dies, patches, sequins, stamps, acrylic pieces, sparkle gems. They have a plethora of items, so go and check them out on their Etsy store. They also have a inspirational craft group on Facebook and daily, and I mean daily, inspiration on their Instagram. So the links for those are in the description below, so that's for that. The challenge for today, since I'm on their design team, is the oldest, let me read it, how they worded it. To use older products. So I'm using this piece of paper here. To you, it just might seem like a regular piece of paper, but I've had this in my stash forever because I hardly ever gravitate to blue and snow. If it's snow, it's because it's in the mountains, so I use greens and different types of woodsy greens and grays and stuff like that. And if it's in the snow, it's because we are in Christmas time. So I never use blue with my snow, ever, ever, ever. So the challenge for this was to use something old. I've had this paper in my stash for a good while now because it came in a pack that was like different loose sheets. I picked it up at a thrift craft store. So I'm going to use this. And I'm also going to be using it in my Disney inspired traveler's notebook, so I'm going to be putting it in here. However, I also want to go ahead and show you the products that I'll be using. And when this challenge came up, I said, okay, I have to do something with this. And I called my sister and I asked her, hey, I need to use this paper. Do you have any pictures of my niece or nephews that I can use this paper with? And she said, I have the perfect paper. The perfect picture for that paper. And she goes ahead and she sends me my niece in this picture. Tell me that's not perfect. And yes, I've gotten permission from my sister to use her children in my crafting and your viewing pleasure. This is a picture. Tell me that is absolutely not perfect. And she did a better one. Look at this. She got me 2 pictures. And as I was looking through it, I thought these pictures are really beautiful. And I'm not sure if they're going to fit on my traveler's notebook here. I could do 2 pictures like that, which is good. But I also went ahead and I printed them out in smaller. And if I don't use these on here, I will keep them for myself. But I think this is actually a pretty good size now that I'm looking at it. Now, with that being said, let's move on to the products that I'm going to be using. Here they are. And I may not use everything, but for the most part, this is what I have pulled out. I'm using sparkle gems, of course, with Mickey heads. That is perfect. They also carry a sequence mix, which is actually pixie dust, and it's called Frozen. So you have all these little snowflakes in different colors, so it has to be used. They have acrylic pieces in Elsa number 1, that's what it's called. So I'm not sure which one I want to use, but I've pulled those out. They have a Sorcerer Mickey hat, which I kind of want to use these swirlies, if you know what I mean. I'm also using the words, it's called Park Phrases, and they have the words magical, fantasy, fun at the park, and say cheese. I'm using the word magical. Of course, they have a snowflake die with little Mickey heads in it. And I've gone ahead and pulled out the clear stamp called Park Tag because I may want to use the in my happy place. Or this is magic word. And maybe even these little sparkles, they could go as snowflakes. So that's what I've pulled out. Let's go ahead and do the fast forward version of my crafting and let's see how I put this together. Come along. Okay, let's get started. I'm taking my 12 by 12 paper and I want to measure it exactly to the point where it would fit my traveler's notebook. So let's really quick cut that out. And easy, simple. I'm hoping I really don't mess up on here because this is the only blue snowflake paper I have, because I have another paper that I'm going to do a different project with the same pictures with the smaller versions. So I cannot mess up on this. Thankfully, I was able to cut it perfectly and it worked. There we go. Making sure that it sticks all together. Now I've gone ahead and done, of course, if you've been on this channel long enough, I do pre-cutting so that you don't need to wait and see how I die cut it with my Sizzix machine. I'm cutting off the white borders just a tad bit so that the pictures will fit perfectly in that layout. Now I want to make sure that the pictures are placed where they need to go so that the snowflake border will go on each of the top and bottom of the pictures. And I'm doing the white one first and then cutting off just a tad bit and then adding that to the other half. I cut more than I needed to just in case, and it worked out perfectly. Look at that. Now I also did it in the border in silver and white, and I did an overlapping so it looks like it's shiny. I cut the word magical in a white glittery foam, and it has a back piece which I made it blue, and then I actually cut it again out of metallic. I love this metallic color paper because it makes it look shiny and glittery. Then adding the acrylics to the side, the snowflake and the Elsa look really good. Now I did cut out the sorcerer's hat, and I wanted to use the swirlies from the hat to make it look like Elsa has some movement. I think this is a really great way to use up dies that have different little things that can be added to a layout. So that's why I looked at my stash, and this is a perfect die for that. Now I've cut them apart as you saw, and I'm just figuring out where I want to add these. I know I want Elsa to look like she's swirling around some magic snow, and then I will be adding it to the word magical at the top right. The acrylics are really beautifully made. They're so beautifully gathered together. Each package of these acrylics are really pretty and put together. Nancy, who is the owner of Scraps and Inks, does a wonderful job of curating and packaging up all of these acrylics that match so beautifully. That snowflake is one of my favorite ones as well because it has small little details in the darker blue. It's so pretty. Now I'm adding these sparkly gems, and I'm using hot glue gun. I love using different kinds of glues, as you could see. I'm using hot glue here, liquid glue on another one, tape runner on a different thing, and also glue dots. I use glue dots majority of the time on the acrylics because I really want them to stick down. Now adding these little cute mouse head gemmies on top of everything. I want it to swirl mouse heads and snowflakes all over the place. Isn't that cute? Now let's get into the sequence, which is the pixie dust mix. Look at that. That is so pretty. There's translucent, iridescent sequence, snowflake shape sequence, and there's also little pieces of what is like clay, polymer clay, but they're tiny mouse heads. So cute. Now in my photo, I had my niece Juliet featuring her throwing some snow in the air, and I wanted to play on that and add in some of those sequins of the snowflake, the translucent ones, and I thought it was so cute, just to make it look like she is throwing some of those snowflakes up in the air. Now I'm taking the stamp and I'm using the word "This is magic" because of course it would only be fitting to put a sentiment that would match the word at the top. I'm quickly doing a kind of like a ticket. I'm cutting out a rectangle and cutting two sides of it with a circle punch to make it look like a tab, not a ticket. and tucking that into the picture. It's not even, but I like it. It just looks like it's a little bit artistic, I guess. Stamping the word, and those little sparkles are actually sparkles, like I said, but they can also play as snowflakes. And if you're looking at this layout, you would never think that they're sparkles. They just look like snowflakes. Adding in some white detail, and we're finished. Okay, I am done. This is what my layout looks like. I've included the bits and pieces, acrylics, the sequins, the sorcerer's hat, the stamp, the snowflake, and the park words. This is what it turned out, and it's fun. And just like I had used the sorcerer's hat, I was able to make little swirls in there. This is what it looks like. I'm so excited, and I think I'm going to do maybe just a little bit of journaling just right here, maybe a sentence, but for the most part, I think it's done, and I'm just going to let it go. Pun intended. I know I'm cheesy like that. But thank you for stopping by. Check out the links for all these amazing products that you can get to create in your traveler's notebook, scrapbook layouts, your albums, and just have fun with these inspired pieces to create with. Until next time, bye!